Are you an old school parent or are you a new school parent when it comes to dating? Do you teach your kids how to date or do you tell them, nah, you don't need no boyfriend? Let's talk about it.
Yo,
Well,
yo, what's popping?
what's
We
poppin'?
are back in the
We
building
are
with
back.
another dope conversation.
Yes,
First
yes.
of all, I'm your boy, Pastor
I'm
J.
your girl, Lady Free.
And Zania.
Yes. So y'all
Did y'all hear that high
listen.
note? Yeah.
That's
Wait, before we move on, first, wait a minute.
okay.
Let's go back. You look all glowy.
Yes.
Zania. Yes,
Yeah.
she's celebrating how many years of marriage?
3.
3 years.
That's dope. Love it.
Oh, they're so
But
sweet.
y'all
The whole
listen.
weekend. They celebrated the whole weekend,
That's
y'all.
good.
Yeah.
Now,
Happy
happy
anniversary.
anniversary, my love.
Thank
If this
y'all.
is your first time tuning in, this is Shift Real Talk. If not, if you are a avid viewer of Shift Real Talk, welcome back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Listen, here on Shift Real Talk, we keep it raw, we keep it funky, we keep it sometimes gritty, but as I said before, it's always going to be no cap. We are talking about some real raw truths about love, life, and relationships. So today, we got a dope show for you. The title is This is a Love Game. Should you teach your kids how to date? We got to talk about this.
Yeah, we got to talk
Hmm.
about this,
We got to talk
man.
about
We
it.
got to talk about this. Let's give a couple of shout outs, you know what I'm saying, before, because this going to be dope. We mean
Okay.
have Patricia, man, we thank you for rocking with us, girl.
Absolutely.
We love you so much, man. There's a couple of other on. I can't see y'all real quick, but man, thank y'all. Let us know y'all in. Say what's up. We love you guys. Thank y'all
Yes.
for rocking with us. Shift Real Talk, man. And then we just want to thank God, man, for Zania, Mia,
Yeah.
quite Contria. We want to thank you for the addition, man. She just
Absolutely.
been a whole, had a whole nother element, man, of just
real
conversation,
talk.
just
So
real
that's
talk. So we
that's
thank
real
you, man.
talk.
We appreciate you.
So listen, let's get into this because I'm really interested. We had a incident where my sister was like, my daughter is how old is she? How old is Gabby?
14.
14. And she was kind of like, had a little friend, little guy friend she was liking. And at first she was kind of sneaking, talking to him in the room, locked up a lot, locked up in the room and stuff like that. But when she realized, you know what, let me allow her to have a boyfriend, but as she's going through the process, teach her. What y'all think about that? Well, I mean, because I know what my perspective is. I'm gonna give that, but what do y'all think about that?
But what's
Well,
the age?
She's 14.
14. Well,
We're
well,
just
well. First of all, Lady Free, she ready to get straight to the meat, but we
Absolutely.
got to slow cook this thing first and
Okay,
foremost.
let's slow cook it.
Let's go back. Let's just rewind a little bit
Okay.
and then get to the meat. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? We putting the seasoning on it right now. Let's put some seasoning on. So first and foremost, we got to understand why there is a level of protection. Why parents have a level of protection for their kids, and a lot of times that protection it causes us to actually shelter. I wouldn't say shelter, but let me just say what I say. Yeah, shield. It causes us to shield them from experiences. So what we do is, and sometimes we shield them with our level of knowledge, or our level of pain, or our level of fear, or our level of just really just not wanting our babies to experience certain things. So we shield them from certain things that they need to experience, because when it comes time to them going through the experience, then they're not prepared. They're not ready for what needs to take place as a human being. Not a human doing, but a human being. So we shelter them. We shield them. You know what I'm saying? What do y'all say?
But-
What do y'all say?
and that's what I was gonna say. And many times, I think that we parent our kids based on our bad experiences.
Yes.
Yes.
We're not shielding from not so much from what we don't want them to experience, because it's true, it boils down to that, but it boils down, what it really is we're shielding them from the hurt we experience, from the
Yeah.
disappointment we experience, from the violations we experienced. And then sometimes that can be overbearing because we can shelter them too much, because we're trying to protect them from the possibility of something happening that they may never encounter, but because we encountered them, we're
Yes.
making sure that they don't.
That they don't, because we feel like when we went through it, it hurt us. When we went through it, it damaged us. And my mom did this to me, or my dad did this to me, and I'm not gonna take my child through that. And it's like, wait a minute, it wasn't done to damage you or done to hurt you. But what I believe and what I know, I was listening to a psychologist today, and it kind of like bothered me, because the psychologist said a lot of behavior is begotten because of the brain. So they say you can't parent the brain. So meaning that there are certain behaviors that the brain develops on its own. So, and you can't parent that brain. You got to just make sure that you do whatever you got to do to keep that brain mentally healthy or mentally stable. I got it. It rocked my stomach. It did. It rocked my stomach, because I thought of it like this: a computer, as smart as that device is, as smart as the computer is, it cannot operate. Guess what? Without Wi-Fi. And then it also cannot operate without information that you download into the computer.
Right.
Even though it is a smart device, it cannot operate without the information that we do what? Put into it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to put a virus on it to protect it from the false information.
Not a virus. You don't put.
I mean, not the virus. You know what I mean? The virus protection.
Right.
You put a virus protection on it to protect it from false information that can come in and destroy the brain.
Right.
The brain of the computer. But the point is, it's the information that is stored into that computer to have it operate the way it's supposed to operate in the right way. So I'm saying that to say it's so key that the information that we have and that God has placed inside of us, it is our duty. It is our duty and our responsibility to give that training, to give that information to our kids, so that they don't need to operate with viruses, or they don't with bad information.
Right.
But here's the thing, and it's going.
That's all right.
Come on.
Talk about it.
It's going to shake your world a little bit.
Okay.
Because every bad situation that we encountered actually created a beautiful thing. But if only we stay stuck in the wound of it,
Right.
if we keep nurturing the wound, we could never see the beauty that it created in us. And I'm talking about even the
Absolutely.
worst of the worst. It created a strength in us. It's
Absolutely.
perfecting us. Even the word tells us that. Count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptation,
Temptation,
Right.
that's right.
because it's perfecting us.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we look at those things and we never move forward from it. And so, like I said, now we're guiding that and we're putting that on our kids.
Yeah.
Right.
And what happens is, like I just read one comment, we're crippling our youth.
That's
We
right.
are stifling their growth. I was just reading a book today that said there could be no growth without any kind of trial.
Right.
Stretching. That's right.
Absolutely.
So everything we go through is actually it's for the purpose of growth, that God allows us to go through it. But if we
Absolutely.
only look at, again, if we only keep focusing on the downside of what we went through and never grow from it, then we think we stagnant. No, we're not stagnant. We're still going back and back, because that's a deeper hole we dig that we have to climb out of.
And that's what I think that we should teach our children how to date from. I'm the one that says I wish that my parents were open to kind of helping me navigate throughout the little dating time that I went through when I was younger. Yes, I went against what they said. They didn't want me to have no boyfriend or whatever. But at the same time, though, I did.
Yeah.
But when I did, I didn't have nobody to go to that had my best interest at heart. And if I did go to a friend, she knows the same amount of information as I do. So how can she help me? But other than influence me to do things the way she doing them, or vice versa. So I really wish I did have that
Yes.
parent that I could say, this is what's going on. I don't really want to do this. How do I tell him this? But I didn't have that. I had a parent who was just like, no, you ain't finna have no boyfriend. No. But my dad had a lot of information, and he was in the home as a man. He could have helped us navigate through
Yeah.
some of the things that we were going through.
My okay, hey, I got my sister on the line and my dad is on the line, but I'm about to divulge some information that, Dad, you probably didn't know about your son.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
So when I was 13 years old,
Oh, Lord.
when I was 13, that's when I started engaging in intimacy, having sex. I was having sex at 13 years old. I was 13 years old. I was having sex.
Gotcha.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
But because I didn't want to seem like I didn't know what I was doing or didn't have any information, because everybody that I was around was, that's what the talk was, So I didn't want to be the one, that didn't know what I was doing. So I was, what? I had a girlfriend at 13 and I had sex with her at 13 years old.
Goodness.
But the thing that I'm trying to say is that curiosity, and here's the thing too, not just curiosity, but the word no. The word no. That word could be a hindrance or that word could be a help. And a lot of times that word no would, and I hear a lot of people who study these behaviors about telling your kids no. If you tell your kids no, then they're going to rebel against you and they're going to do it anyway. They're going to do it. They're going to find out information that that you trying to keep from them, telling them no. Or if you tell them no, they're going to rebel and they're going to freeze up, or they're going to do something. They're going to act the kind of way. Now, even though no was told to me, because that's why I was saying my experience, because no was told to me. I didn't know. And no was only told to me because I believe my parents didn't really have the time. Saying life was life, and at that age too, both parents are working, both parents are doing their thing, so they couldn't. No was not just the exact word no, but it was like, okay, when I get to you later, or I'll tell you later. Not knowing that as a kid, I had that need for information. I had that need for it because, me making a decision as a kid, I wanted to be the kid that was in. I didn't want to be the kid that didn't know, I didn't want to seem like the kid that I didn't know what I was doing, because I probably would have felt like, they would have talked about me. You don't know what you're doing.
And they didn't know either.
But the crazy part was they didn't know either.
Right.
No, nobody knew. Come on, nobody knows at that age of 13. You're thinking like a 13 trying to be an adult. But the thing is, that word no, and this is what I want to kind of deal with y'all. Is it impossible? No, or is it good to tell our kids no? And if so, why or why isn't it?
I mean, I think. Go ahead, Zany.
no, go ahead.
I think yes. No is not a bad word. No is actually a beautiful word if used correctly and for the right motive, for the right reason. Yes, it is good for you to tell them no. At the same time, though, we have to remember that kids are going to be influenced, especially in today's time. I mean, if it was
Yes.
bad back when we were young, just imagine now. They're going to be influenced, especially through social media, through friends at school, cousins, whatever, to end up, you need to like somebody. I mean, you need a little boyfriend, or girl, I got a boyfriend, or girl, and they could be lying. But at the same time, though, they're going to do that. And I love how when your sister was telling us, she said no first. She was just like, nah. But then she noticed the sneaking and the, creeping around and on the phone all the time. But when she opened up to say, you know what, I'm going to say, you know what, if you're going to have a little friend, then I need to know certain things about him. I need to get to know him. Even though she's 14, her mom realized she's going to like a little boy at this age. And she does. So since she does, no is not the operative word at this point because she already likes him. So for me, I'm
glad
always
she's liking a little boy. Oh, okay.
well, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So,
So for me,
go ahead.
let me just finish out this little point. For me, it's like prepare them before they get it out their nose wide open already, and now they can't even hear nothing you saying. We don't prepare them first because we're afraid that we're gonna almost walk them into a dating situation. So I say prepare them first.
So I would say absolutely say no is a good word actually for our kids. Because first of all, we're the first teacher of balance. So if
There
we
you
think
Mhm.
go.
that we're supposed to say yes to everything that our child desires, then oh my God, we're setting them up for failure in life. So
Absolutely.
no is a good word. But based on your example, I don't even think no is the topic here. Is information. And
Mm,
when your child, you have to listen to certain cues because your child may not directly come out and tell you their interest, right?
right.
What they're
Yeah.
thinking about, but they'll ask little questions here and there that
Mhm.
you, who has experienced this, who have maturity, can hear what they're really asking. So I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times as parents, we have to really listen attentively to what our child is really asking so that we can ask the appropriate questions to them. Like, you thinking about doing something? Oh no, oh no, oh no. But you can tell because you know your child what they're really leading to.
Right.
Yes. Let me read Patricia's comment. Oh no, this is Tisha. Hey Tisha, how you doing, sis?
Hey,
But
Tish.
but but we got two good comments. Let me read Patricia. Patricia said, when a parent tell a child no, they should explain why it's a no. This way, the child won't be curious and go find out why. Exactly.
Mm,
Tisha said it's good to say no sometimes. It should follow an explanation for why the no is in place. Whether or not we as parents implement the no, some kids we still have their curiosity. And I read their comments because that's what I wanted to say. I believe that if you don't say no, then what they're going to always do is whine for a yes, or they're going to do always do what they have to do to get that yes because they're so used to getting yes. So it
mm,
teaches that balance when you say no, but do say no with a directive. Listen, let me instruct you on, because no sometimes is a level of protection. No, like with my sister, like, she told her no, and I said, when she told me as uncle, I was like, no, 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 she don't need no boyfriend. But
yeah.
that was me controlling and actually shielding her from going through the experience. So what we need to do as parents, if it's a no, it don't have to be a hard no, but at least make that no come with direction or
Right.
guidance. Because if we take them and show them how to go through the experience, then they'll understand. No for themselves. No, I don't need to do that because
Right.
it didn't feel good doing this thing, or I don't need to do that, or because it was the wrong decision. Because again, those no's help us make wise decisions as a person, as a human being. Helps us to make those decisions.
And
Yeah.
Pastor J, I think, okay, don't shoot me, but I think that's giving an explanation is situational. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah.
I raised my older kids and my ex-husband raised our older kids with explanations behind every no and every yes.
Mm,
And that set them up again for failure. Because if they hear no in the world, they're looking for an explanation.
yeah.
And guess what? God don't even operate like that. Sometimes
Yeah.
God tell us no, and we're sitting there like, and that makes it hard. We're setting our kids up, even with spiritually, to fail because when God say no and God not answering, you know what they do? They make up their own decision. Well, I'm gonna do this, 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 and that.
Right.
Since all
Right.
you gonna tell me is no, and
Mm-hmm.
you ain't give me no explanation.
I
Because
agree. I
as they
agree.
got older, and we just said no, or they heard no, that's what they end up doing because they were
Yeah.
so used to an explanation that why you can't give me an explanation, just a no, like
Right.
why though, why?
Yeah.
So I think it's situational. Some, a lot of times there are calls for an explanation, and there's a lot of times that my no is enough, just no.
Absolutely. I think
Because what if you're not
that's
mature enough
good.
to even handle the explanation?
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's balance. And I think that's a lot of times what people don't operate on. As parents, we must operate in balance. Because look at this. Okay, you want a boyfriend. So tell me this. If this happens, what would you do?
You
How
don't
about we
know.
ask questions to them? Okay, if you're faced with your friends, let's say your friends doing this, 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 and this, and they saying this, how would you respond to that? So the thing is, when I say prepare them, it's not you need to do this and you don't let nobody let you do don't let
Why
nobody do
not?
this. Well, I said when I say
Okay.
you might have a different way of preparation, but my preparation it doesn't come with don't do this. You don't let no boy do this. Don't let no little girls because all the don'ts they not gonna hear don't.
Curiosity.
They
But they
gonna
get curious,
hear
it becomes
right.
curious.
Yeah, yeah. It's like why not? And sometimes you not gonna have an explanation, but if you ask them questions, put scenarios out there. Okay, so if this happens, let's say y'all out at the mall, y'all walking through the mall, and this particular things happen, how would you handle that? Because now it gets them to think for themselves. Therefore, you'll be, and this is at an age like let's say 14, because 14 is the new like 18 these days with these little kids. So it's like okay, you're there.
Excuse me.
You're talking to your daughter or fathers. I think fathers definitely should talk to their daughters if hopefully they're mature enough to do so. And yeah, ask them questions.
Yes.
If a little boy try to do this, what would you do? How would you handle it? And if
Because I'm
she
gonna give an
doesn't,
example.
uh-huh.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna give an example of what you're stating. When I was younger, I was very naive. Like my sister was more mature in her thinking, but I was very naive. So
Mm-hmm.
my mom would sit us down and she would hold a conversation with me and my sister. Like, because sometimes she'll talk to all three, me, my brother, and my sister, but sometimes it was just the girls, and then
Yeah.
sometimes it was just the boy. So she would talk to me, my sister and I, and she would leave out certain details because I wasn't mentally mature enough for those details. And
Right.
my sister would be like, mom, what about and my mom would hurry up and hush her to not expound on what she wanted to say. So my sister, when we get in the room, she would expound on what my mom wouldn't allow her to expound on. And guess what it did? First of all, I didn't even know to think about that, but now it became a curiosity. Like, what is that?
Hmm.
So what does that do? Oh, and how does that feel? When that's what my mom was trying to protect me from.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
That entering my mind.
Absolutely.
So I guess
Can,
you just have to have that wisdom. God got to
yes.
lead you through that jungle. Yeah.
Kenya, hey Kenya, Merrick, good to see you. We ain't seen you in a long time. She said, as a child, I got no with without an explanation, and I
Hmm.
went out there, and I did it anyway because of the no. In other
And you got
words,
to remember, some kids are why kids. All kids don't ask why. And sometimes when they ask why, like I was a why kid, but I never. It was always cause I said so. You know,
Mhm.
and maybe I'm over exaggerating how they told me, but that's how I felt at the time. It was always a okay, but why? You don't ask me why. I'm your mom. I'm your daddy. So the thing with that is some kids have that thing where they could do better if they understand why. I'm not
Mhm.
saying give it to them all the time. Like I said, there is a balance. But at sometimes
Mhm.
it's like you gotta know your children enough. You gotta like you said, Zania, you gotta know the cues. You gotta kind of understand your child for who they are and where they at. And I'm not saying like divulge sexual information to the kids because I mean he talking about 13. Little boys, they curious like that. They little hormones doing some things. They body doing some things they not used to. They get around each other and they be little boys. And the curiosity is there, especially if one little boy have experienced something that another little boy haven't, and he brought that into the little mix and everything. But
Mhm.
at the same time, though, I feel like there should always be, though we weren't taught as parents to be that voice of reason for our kids in dating because we just
Mhm.
don't want them to date. We don't want them,
yeah.
oh my God, you're growing up too fast. Or we'll throw them out there prematurely and say, girl, yeah, she got a little boyfriend and she only 5.
But let me say
Mhm.
this, babe, because I want to piggyback. And I heard what you said, Zania, but I believe this is true. Um, I think we should come with the explanation, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because every child, I don't care whether you grow up faster than the other kid or whether you mature enough faster than whatever sibling that you have, but every child grows up with a need, and that need is you need love, you need affection, you need these are needs. These are love languages as a kid that need to be fulfilled by your parents. So what you want from that need is you want to get that need fulfilled through the very person that you're supposed to get it filled from. Not only God, but the instruction through God, but from your parents.
Absolutely.
Now, if you tell them no, what you're doing is now you're causing your child or that kid or that individual to now want to get that need fulfilled through curiosity, through the person that's going to take advantage of this need that because some people know that, oh, I can see this needy person and they need something. So, and a lot of times they're vulnerable enough to get taken advantage of in those type of situations. So I believe it's so important that we fulfill those needs so that they don't grow up wanting to get those needs fulfilled. You know what I'm saying? So there's things that a kid needs, and it's a need. You know
But that's not every child. I think that you're talking about a particular child. Because, just like Lady Free just stated, she was a wire child. So for a wire child, absolutely that's a need. I need you to tell me why. But some children are actually good with just the guidance of saying no. And when they're ready, they'll come back and say why. Because again, I'm gonna use myself as an example. I didn't have that thought process for me to even want to understand why. No was no, like, okay. And I was good with it because that wasn't my love language. So when I was ready to ask the whys, because now my mind has a curiosity, then I would go back and ask my why. But at that time, I really didn't care.
But is the why kid now hear what you're saying? But let's come on, let's bring it home. Is the why kid the only kid that has that need? No.
See, nobody's saying that all kids don't have the need. It's just she's saying that all kids deal with the needs differently. Like, let's say, for instance, don't get me wrong, I was a white kid. However, I wasn't thinking about no boyfriend. I was in high school. I knew that was just a no-go for my parents. And I was one of the children. I did want to be obedient to that until I got presented with a situation where a guy liked me and I didn't know what to do. Like, I knew my parents said, no, we can't have no boyfriend. Focus on your schoolwork, the whole nine. But at the same time, I wish I had been a little more prepared as even what to do when he approached me. I didn't know anything about dating, period. I was green to the dating situation. The only couple that I had ever seen displayed in front of me were my parents. So then guess what I did when I got into a relationship with a little young man? Because I didn't really know how to tell him no. So, okay, now we go together. You walking me to class. You carrying my books in between class. You meet me at the lockers and all of that stuff. And I started treating him like he was more so my husband, because that's the only relationship I knew, than anything, because I was trying to filter and figure out how to do this. And I saw my parents displayed. That's the only relationship I knew. So I treated it as if it were a husband-wife type, more so than a boyfriend type situation.
So I got you, but I want to go back to what y'all saying, because I want to go back to what y'all saying.
Okay.
You said it depends on the child. I say it depends on the situation.
Explain.
Because every kid, say for instance, you got a young adult teenager, 16, 15, and they want to go to the party with the rest of their friends. A no in that situation is no. Why I can't go? Why? Because I said no. You can't go. You know what I'm saying? But I like this dude, or I like this girl. I'm not dude. I like this boy in school. He likes me. Or I like this girl in school. She likes me. Can you help me filter through these feelings? You don't tell them no in that situation.
They're not going to even ask that.
I'm just giving a situation. You don't know what they're going to ask.
A child that has heard no or has a straight up parent-child cut and dry, they're not going to feel comfortable asking their parents.
That's why it has to cut. So that's why I'm saying. That's why it has to come with. Sometimes it has to come with an explanation, because it will shut them down from coming to you about information that you don't want.
How about the explanation is my father date me? How about the explanation is me and my girls have a brunch, so she can show me certain things that I need to know when I do go out, regardless of whether. How about do it before I start liking little boys? How about that?
Do what?
Teach me, because it's no point in teaching me when I'm in the thick of it. By the time I'm in it, I'm not coming to my parents saying, this little boy liked me, when I already know you said no. I'm not going to do that. I'm not gonna feel comfortable. There's no safe place there, because if I tell you, then you gonna tell me. Then I tell you couldn't have no little boyfriend, but it's too late now.
So does that no come with a level of control?
It comes with a level of parenting.
Does that come with a level of control?
But that goes back to what I
don't
said
know.
earlier when we
That's
first
a
started
gray
the
line.
show. It started when, like what I said when we first started the show. A lot of times we parent based on what? Our own disappointments,
Yeah,
our own hurts,
experiences. Yeah,
our own experiences. So where does that no really come from?
that's true.
Now that's true.
That's
true.
yeah.
Cause that no could come from what you put. Yep. That, but that's
this
that
happened
shield
to me.
Yeah.
And no, you don't need. And I believe that's what happened with my father.
Somebody type that in the chat.
My
Where does the no
father-
come from?
Yeah, yeah.
Type it in the chat. Where does that
If
no
you know
come
where
from?
the no comes from, type that in the chat. How about that? Because my father, he used to be a ladies' man growing up, and he had 4 daughters. So the only thing he wanted to do was protect us from dudes who was like him before he got saved. Absolutely. So instead of teaching us, that's why I said, and I know my father had some good information to teach us. So instead of teaching us, knowing with wisdom, my daughters are going to end up dating sooner or later. Let me help them understand what it is first before they even get. Because when you hate little boy, I don't like him. Well, that's the reason why he picking on you on the playground. I don't care. I don't like him. He got a big head. Start teaching them around that time, when they're more rational thinking, like, okay, but you know what? Sometimes little boys do this and this and this and that. If a little boy do this, what would you do? And you teach them on the level they are, so that now they're comfortable with you and know that my dad or my mom is a safe place for me to talk about this, because they started talking about this when I could care less about little boys and little girls or whatever.
Or how about this? When the little boys start hitting on them, excuse me, when the little boys start hitting on them, take your son to the side and say, okay, explain to me why you really are hitting on her. What you're
Exactly.
feeling. Because I
Yeah.
did that. Honestly, I did that with my own kids. I remember my son came home one day and he told me this little girl, they were in elementary, and he said, this little girl kissed me, Mom. And I said, she kissed you? Where she kissed you? He said, with her tongue.
Ew. Oh, why I'm acting
On
like
the
a
bus.
kid now?
On the
Ew.
bus. And he was like, it was so nasty. But at that moment, even though he said it was nasty, I said, well, come go with me. We went to the mom's house. And I had a talk with the mom as well, because I needed the mom to know the behavior of your child. But then I also had to sit down with my son, even though they didn't have the understanding of what that was. Because he was like, she put her tongue in my mouth. Ew,
Why I keep doing
But I
that?
had-
Like,
I I had to have that conversation with him at that point. Why? Because now he had an experience, and I cannot let the experience go unrecognized. Where
right.
now he's thinking about what was that and why did that happen to me?
Absolutely.
We are. I believe God told Abraham and Sarah that they would, have kids that would replenish the earth, right? That would, and I believe that replenishing had not only to do with just growing it in number, but actually giving it the information that it needs to grow. So with that being said, I believe that it's our duty and our obligation to give the information to help replenish the earth, so that we're not raising a generation of ignorance.
Right.
I started teaching my son how to drive at 6 years old.
Before
I put him in my lap, started teaching him how to drive. He couldn't hit the pedal, so I let him, I stepped on the gas, but taught him how to steer. Then when he got old enough, then I was able to now let him on my lap, because he still couldn't, he had to sit up, what I'm saying? And so, but that's a car. It's a big machine where you can lose your life. So I still let him sit on my lap, but I now let him press on the gas. So when he got like 10 and he started growing immensely, I started putting him behind the wheel. So when it came time for him to take the road test, he already knew how to drive.
No fear.
No fear. He had all the information he needed because I implanted it in him when he was little.
Early, yeah.
From an early age, I prepared him. So the thing is, we have to be intentional with our preparation. we can't be so busy because we know life causes us for both parents to work to be able to provide, but you still have to be intentional with the information and the impartation. That is our responsibility that we place on our kids. So when it comes time to them dating, or when it comes down to them now experiencing life, we have prepared them for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm dealing with a situation now that my 19-year-old nephew, he has no clue. His mother sheltered him for his whole life.
Yeah.
So every day he calls me with a situation because he said, Unc, the other day it bothered me. He said, Unc, I just don't know how to be happy. I don't why I don't know how to be happy. And I said, wow, you've experienced so much shelter in your life that now you don't even understand what happy is. I said, but happiness is in here, man. I said, and the more you do for yourself and the more you do with yourself and the more you grow in yourself, you're going to trust me. You're going to start feeling happy. But he was never allotted to be. He don't even know how to do. He didn't know how to do nothing for himself.
He's dating now. But the thing is, though, he's dating now, but he has his uncle to help him, and he wants the information.
He wants it. He wants
to know, what do I do about this? And it's so innocent, the stuff that he's asking is so amazing, but that's the kind of information we should give at the level, as he said, with his son, with our son. He put him in his lap first because his feet couldn't touch the pedal. He didn't just sit him over there and give him the keys and say, hey, crank her up. He didn't do that. So what happens with dating, teach them at the level they are, because little things are happening when they little, like the little kiss on the playground, or the little boy that pushed you because he liked you and he really don't know how to express it. It's like these things are already happening at young ages. Now we have social media that's kind of introducing them to more stuff early. So you catch them before they get introduced. I'd rather be the one to introduce and not teach them out of my pain from relationships, or out of my pain or my discomfort from things that may have happened to me early on, but out of the lessons I've learned. That's why it's important for us to look back. We might have to sit in some of this pain for the sake of generations to come, for our legacy, to say, you know what, God, what was it that I was supposed to learn from that? Because I have to teach my children something so they won't make the same mistakes I made. They need to be making new mistakes, not the same ones I made, because I'm here to teach them how to navigate through the early stages of relationships.
I used to be a leader in a youth ministry, and the things that these kids would share, the things that these kids would share,
Right.
that happens on the playground, that happens in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, even down to, I'm remembering a story that this little boy told me one time. He was like, yeah, we be grabbing girls' booty and going under their dress and grabbing their breasts. And I asked,
Yeah.
I didn't come at him fussing or nothing. I wanted to know the why. And they were shocked when I said why, because they didn't feel like they can talk about that with anybody else, because they felt like, oh, I'm going to get in trouble, when sometimes they themselves are seeking understanding.
Yeah.
So when I asked the why, he thought about it for a minute and he said, because all the other boys are doing it, and I didn't want to be the only boy who's not doing it.
Yeah.
I said, so why do you think the other boys are doing it then? Because now I wanted to challenge his thinking of why he following somebody and don't know why they're doing it.
That's preparation.
That's preparation.
So it goes back again to what you said, Lady Free. We have to really ask them the whys, because if we don't know what they're feeling, how can we help them with their emotions? Exactly. Why give them information that they don't even need? Because you're not even touching what their curiosity is.
Exactly.
It's important to find out their curiosity first.
Yeah. And then little girls will understand their value. Little boys will understand how to respect little girls and not go for the ones that's, going to give them toxicity.
I guess I'm playing angel's advocate here, because you said to find out their why because of their curiosity, but because sometimes we'll never know the level of curiosity, because a lot what kids share with their friends, they sometimes they don't share at all with their parents. So we
But
would
Pastor
never
Jay, I'm
know.
not saying the level, because first of all, sometimes you don't need to know the level of it if you just touch the surface of it,
No, what
right?
I'm saying, no, I got you. What I'm saying is that
Hmm.
sometimes you not even just the level, but you just never know at what age or what point in their growth that they're curious, because some things that they share with their friends they don't share with their parents. So you may think they're not curious, but in all actuality they are, because there's a period of, or 8 hours during the day where we're not around them. So we don't know the information that's being fed to them and feeding their curiosity. So that's why I said that level of teaching should still, you don't have to teach, like I said, when I showed my son, I couldn't give him the keys to the car because he wasn't ready for it. But I
Right.
started giving him little nuggets, like letting him sit on my lap and steer the wheel. So that's a piece of information that he's ready for. So, so I don't know if you're saying to not give them information at all, but I think there should be a level
No.
of information that we need to give them as they mature.
I think y'all
give
saying the same thing.
yeah,
That's what.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
not
she
saying not to
said.
okay.
give them the information. What I am saying is, along with what you're giving them, pay attention to their curiosities, because you may be
Okay.
Right.
feeding them
Okay.
something and not even touching what they need.
Right.
That's all I'm saying at this
Okay.
point. I'm not saying they don't need what you're giving them, but I'm talking about at this point in time where they
Yes.
are, you may not be giving them the information needed. It goes back to what Lady Free said earlier about she was saying that they have to have a safe place to come,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm even reading Tisha Thomas's comment when she said, "I'm so godly proud that my kids know that they can come and talk to me about any and everything." And I'm gonna be honest, my kids would tell me, even now sometimes I'm like, "Oh my God, I don't want," and they're grown. I'm like, "Do I really want to hear this?" I don't tell them that, but inside I'm screaming like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, they're telling me what?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I always wanted to be a safe place that they can come and tell me what they are thinking, even if they talk to their friends, because they're gonna do that regardless.
Yeah.
But they will also tell me what my friend said, da, 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 da. And I would have to say, okay, either redirect them or, in a way that they will receive it. But I always try to be that safe place
Mm.
that they can come and tell me whatever, no matter how
And
tough it is.
and in those safe places are the best time for correction. Because if your girlfriend told you this, and this, your homegirl told you all of this, and it's wrong, and she probably got that from another girl or a teenager that's a little bit older than them and she look up to on social media, then you could say, okay, well, I don't understand where they got that from because this is the reality of that situation. And then go into a conversation. Now, this also helps them learn how to communicate. This also helps them learn how not to be afraid, or it takes some of the curiosity out of something they have no clue about. It's like absolute no makes you go high. I mean, makes you go digging for information. But a conversation, now I know that I don't have to pile it out on my kids at one time, and they also know I don't have to give it all to mom or dad at one time. I can come back to them. It's like a reservoir. I can come back because they make me feel like that this is a place that I can come. So so after a while, you'll start to notice that they'll start telling their friends, girl, that ain't it, because this," and they may not say my mama said, or they may, but they'll go with, no, that's not it, because if that happened, then this, and now they're teaching their friends information that they are learning from a responsible adult. It doesn't have to just be the parents. It could be like you were,
Right.
a youth leader. It could be a
I'm
person
I'm
that
I'm beating them all.
you see.
I'm whipping. I'm whipping.
No, you're not.
All right, let me go and we'll get canceled.
No, you're not.
but let me say this real quick. And one thing I talk about is my experience. So I don't want anybody on the line to get offended by my experience, because this is how I help. Even this come from my deliverance, or may help somebody who went through it. So I
Right.
know I may get ridiculed for this, but I'm gonna say it because this is
Uh-oh.
shit real talk.
It's
So
keep it funky.
so my youngest son Zion, he has literally seen me go through a physical abuse in the relationship that I was in at the time, that he's seen it. Now, one thing I did not do to him was not tell him or educate him about relationship. That actually was my opportunity to educate him on how to look for if you're going to date, look for your wife. And then in certain situations, you got to understand when it's not working out, you know what I'm saying? And even certain situations, even in the midst of my pain, I still use that to educate him on what to look for, what not to put up with, what not to deal with. These are things that you don't. So it was actually it was a bad situation for me, but it was a good situation to help me help my son. Cause today now he's 24 years old. He don't have any kids. He's very picky on who he date. I mean, he's very picky. But at the end of the day, it's important that we don't even hide, because sometimes we'll hide that situation and we know that it's bad because it's bad, we'll hide and we'll lie to our kids and don't afford them that life lesson. And so we'll lie to them and tell them, or Santa Claus ain't real. Or, I mean, I'm just using that as the lie that we say, but Santa Claus is real. Santa Claus brought these gifts, but we'll use lies to shield them from what the truth is. When I believe that if we tell them what the truth is, and in the truth help them learn experiences and learn life lessons that can help them when they experience their opportunity to go through those things that you have gone through. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I believe is so key important.
But Pastor Jay, we're really not hiding. We think we are. I remember when my kids were younger, in elementary still, my eldest son came home and said, "Mom, my eldest daughter was allowing this boy to hit her and call her out her name." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "And I'm tired of it. I'm so tired of it. She keep allowing this boy to call out her name and hit her." So I had to pull her to the side. And I said, "Why are you allowing this?" And she was like, "I don't know." And I said, "Do you like this little boy?" She was like, "Yes, ma'am." I was like, "And you don't know why you're allowing this little boy to hit you and call out your name?" "No, ma'am." And you know what I had to realize, Pastor Jay? At that time, I was being abused.
Wow.
She was mimicking my behavior. Because like, as you said, if we don't take those moments to be honest with our kids and to talk about what's happening, because they're experiencing it with us. Let's be honest. Like, we think we're hiding it, but they are experiencing it with us.
Absolutely.
It became her model subconsciously.
Yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't a purposeful act that she was doing, because when I asked her, she couldn't even explain it. I don't know was her answer.
Yeah.
But subconsciously, she was mimicking mom and dad.
Wow.
So I had to say, okay, one, I had to talk to her about the truth of that situation. And then two, I had to make a decision about the situation so that I can deliver her by delivering me.
Yes.
So I agree with you totally. Like, even if someone don't disagree, that's fine. But I have to agree with you totally. I think we should have those candid conversations with our kids when they're experiencing life with us.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is just going through this is just going through with them to help them with their dating process, because again, for some reason, I don't know what it is, when it comes to dating is the subject that either breaks or makes us, because for some reason there's so much energy that we put into dating. There's so much energy as people we put into dating, and we put into, because we'll put the time to make us look a certain way so that we can be impressive in dating. And we've gotten the whole dating scene wrong. I've had it wrong, because my purpose for dating was, again, like I was saying earlier, to fulfill needs. I didn't really understand what dating was. I was empty. So I felt like if I got with somebody, she was going to be able to fulfill what I was lacking in. That's not the idea of dating. So these are things that we have to share with our children and let them understand. Teach them what dating is.
Yeah, that part. It's collecting
Yeah,
data.
teach them what it is.
Learn about them.
You know,
Pay attention.
And because they don't know, like my sister said, I went to the boy's house. I met his mama and his daddy, and I went.
Come on.
That's
Go
teaching
back
her.
to old school. Come
That's
on,
teaching
people.
her what to look for while you're dating. This is
Yeah.
what you do.
Yeah.
Meet the parents. Meet if his daddy if he's an alcoholic. 9 times out of 10,
Oh, no.
he may have had snuck a drink or two. He may have snuck a Budweiser somewhere down the line.
Right.
You know, but the point is, these are traits. These are general. And one thing I had a discussion with my brother the other day, and we were talking about generational curses. And I said, stop. Stop. There is no such thing as a generational curse. We are not cursed.
Because Jesus Christ became the
Yes,
curse.
it is behavior.
For us, boo-boo.
It is behavior because, again, what we do, we mimic, like you said, we mimic
pattern of behavior.
Mimic what we see. That's
Yeah.
what we do. So
Yeah.
it's generational behavior. So it's our job to change the thought of that behavior because those behaviors come from thoughts.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't come from curses. They come from thoughts. They come from what's implanted and imparted in our minds.
Yeah.
And guess what does that? Environment. Our environment shapes our thoughts.
Yeah.
Our experiences shape our thoughts. These are things that shape our thoughts. So we must come in between that so that we can change the thoughts of our generations so that now the kids that are coming behind us, that they truly don't make the same mistakes that we made.
Yeah.
Not saying that they're not going to make mistakes, but at least they have the information to go through the mistake. So when they make the mistake, that it's like, oh, okay, I got it. Boom, try it again. But sometimes when you don't have the information and you make the mistake, you won't go do it again. You give up because you don't have the tool that's going to keep pulling you to keep going.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is, y'all.
Wow. And sometimes your children, when they start dating, it'll reveal your places where you need healing.
Yes.
Because it's, to me, I think that life is so beautiful in the aspect of every single thing is growth and is cultivation for everybody involved.
Yeah.
You know, so if your little girl or your son come talking about dating, and the way you respond to them or react to them, it'll tell a lot about what you're not healed from. If you're not healed from being used, you'll say something like, you don't need no boyfriend because all little boys, and then it'll be something negative. That's a place where you need to be healed. If you're dating, if a little boy is dating a little girl, and then the mama, I had a parent, one of my parents said this to her son. She said, you need to be careful about these little girls. That's how little boys end up with rape convictions and they ain't do nothing wrong. And that was kind of, it's not a false statement, but it was so deep for where he was in life. That wasn't even the situation, but because it was something she had already experienced before, it's like, yeah, that's a little too much for his understanding right now. What you might need to tell him is something like, okay, you know what? If you like her, this is how you need to respond to certain things she do. And if she taking it too far and it seemed like that she, got a little manipulation up her sleeve, then this is what you need. She went so over the top because that was a place where she hadn't been healed. So we have to really, really be careful to look at when our children are doing things, look at it and say, okay, you know what? Am I reacting like that because that's still a sore spot in me? And that's a beautiful thing to understand, because once you understand it, now you know what to go to before God about and say, okay, God, this is where I'm hurting. And I want to make sure that I'm there for my child so that this pain will not overshadow the beauty of dating, so that they can date healthy and not in a toxic way.
And that's good, because you said the beauty of dating, right? Because we don't realize how what we say impact the emotions of our children.
Yeah.
We don't realize, because one thing I used to beat into my boys, don't ever hit a girl. Don't ever hit a girl. Don't ever hit a girl.
Too.
And they know it was because what they saw me go through with their dad.
Yeah.
Don't ever hit a girl. Better not ever see you hit a girl. Don't ever hit a girl. I don't care, man. And I kept doing that until when my baby boy got older, he told me, that bothered me, that you have to keep telling me that.
Wow.
As if you didn't trust me to make my own decision that I wouldn't hit a female.
Wow.
I didn't like that you had to keep telling me that and reminding me of that.
Wow.
And we don't realize how what we do, our lessons and where it comes from, can impact the emotions of our children.
Girl, how about this? I told TJ, don't you ever hit a girl, don't you ever hit, because I was trying to create a gentleman out of him because I ain't never let no man hit me, right? So
Hmm.
how about I go to the elementary school for lunch to surprise him one day and some little girl, pow, pow, just tearing my baby face up. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what in the world? Why did you let? Well, Mama, you said never to hit a girl. So at that very moment, I redirected my stuff. I said, okay, this is what you do. I didn't tell him to hit her, no,
Yes,
but you do protect yourself. So if you got to put that arm up like
that's
this,
right.
or if you got to, grab that arm and say, stop, don't hit me, but
Hmm.
I just simply it was black and white. Don't you ever do this. And it was because I just know, because I'm a
Real,
girl.
real quick,
Yeah.
real quick, y'all, real quick. I want to.
Oh, time is gone.
Yeah,
My
Tisha said
goodness.
kids see, and depending on the kid, they use their parents' experience as teaching. That's right. We thank God for
They do.
Patricia. We missed a couple of your comments. She said, yes, you have to be the safe place where they could talk to you freely and no
Gotta be the
judgment.
safe
But I want us to
place.
deal with this before we go. I want each one of us to have something to say what Kenya Merritt put up. She said, healing is a forever thing. I want each of us to
Oh,
chime in
wait.
on that. And before we go,
Healing is a forever
I want y'all to
thing.
chime in on that.
Okay, Zany, go. Because I want
You
to
go first, yeah.
go
You
first,
want me to
Zany.
go first?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yikes. Okay, so that's a tough one. If we're talking about forgiving one thing, if or if we're talking about multiple things, because if I think when we're talking about multiple things, I do believe that her statement is right. Healing is a forever thing because we get offenses all the time. Not
Mm,
it's not intentional. Your spouse may hurt you unintentionally. So healing is a forever thing when you look at it when it's multiple things. Because every day we are facing an offense, right?
right.
But if we're talking about one particular thing, I don't think healing is a forever thing. I think it is a process, and every person's length of that process is different. And even
Mm,
down to each subject, each topic, one thing may take me a week to get over, while another thing may take me years to get over. Because sometimes
wow.
we don't even realize we're still bleeding
Oh,
over
my.
something that happened in our childhood until God said, okay, look, deal with this. And then you're like, I thought I was over that. Why
Wow.
am I sitting here crying?
Uh-huh.
So I do think when we're talking about multiple things, yes, healing is a forever thing. But if we're talking about one thing, I don't think that it's forever. I think it's all about maturity.
Wow,
Come
that's
on.
beautiful. Y'all listen, I want to give everyone
Come
in
on,
the
baby.
chat an opportunity to chime in. What do you feel like that means for you? But for me, I'm going to make it real quick. I believe healing is a forever thing and I like that as I was thinking because if I'm healed, then I'm going to teach healing. And then generations after me will teach that same healing and it will become a forever thing down throughout the generations. That's what I felt like it was about.
Amen. I believe healing would only be forever if that's your thought. Because healing is a it's a f- healing can be the state where you are if you're willing to change your thought of what healing is.
Oh my.
So it's only what you make it. So if you desire healing, you can be healed.
Oh my. Okay.
Because guess what? We serve. Let's go to the one who is the
The
healer.
healer. Come on.
He is the healer of those who diligently seek him. So I believe also your healing becomes in your seek, which would beget your thought. So if you seeking healing, I promise you, you'll get it. You will get the healing that you seek.
Yeah.
Because it's just like sin. It's a choice. Some of us choose to hold on to things, and what we do as we
Wow.
hold on to it, they become triggers. So it could be a little something very small, minute,
That hair
that'll
trigger.
trigger the thing that we're holding on to. That's
Yeah.
why he says, cast all your cares on him
Get that healing.
because he cares for you.
Yes.
The reason why he wants us to give it to us so that we don't hold on
The
to it
reason
no
why he
more.
wants us to give it to who?
To him. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
That's what I thought I said. Thank you for the correction.
Yeah.
That's why he wants us to give it to him,
Right.
so that we don't hold on to it. So, because again, holding on to it, it gets triggered. But if he takes it, then
That's healing, baby.
That's healing.
Yes, holding on to it is not healing. So look, I always think about God's hand touching the place that I'm wounded. Let your finger of healing touch the place that I'm wounded, so that I will be healed and I will be able to teach through my healing. That's why God says we overcome by our testimonies, not our monies. If you
Yes.
still in the money, hush your mouth. But if it's a test that you went through and it becomes a testimony, tell it and allow someone to overcome.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you speak it. And one thing I'm learning too, the power of life and death lies in the tongue.
It is in it.
So if you speak it, He's given us the authority and the dominion to speak victory over our lives.
Yeah, that's true.
So speak it.
Speak it. Go ahead, Zany.
Kenya said, "What if I don't know him?"
What if you don't know him?
If you don't know him,
trust me, even if you don't know him, I promise you, there is somebody that you can go to that can help lead you to him. But the point is, don't hold on to it. You must get rid of those thoughts.
Kenya, not knowing him is also a choice. Because let me explain to you, because our time is out and I got to make this real quick. When I was on the other side of the tracks, doing my own thing, trying to do everything my way, and I was in control of everything, the world ate me alive. But when I gave my life to Christ and I said, I cannot do this without the one who created me and knows best about me and everything that I need to strive and live my best life, when I gave and made my choice, when I gave my life to him, then that's when a lot of things have started to manifest in my life and become beautiful. Even the hard times are not as hard because I have him walking with me every step of the way. So if you don't know him, have a desire first to get to know him, and then, like Pastor Jay says, somebody will help you. Hey, call me.
The whole purpose is because there is two ways to get help. No, there's one way to get help, but society has their way that to help, and there's a way.
Kingdom agenda.
There's a kingdom and there's a kingdom agenda. And there's thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a culture agenda and a kingdom agenda. The point is, if you're willing to do the work to get healed, then I promise you, even if you go in culture's way, they still have to go the way the kingdom says.
Because they get it from the king, baby.
Because that's the origin of where the help comes from.
Yeah.
Because all of my help comes from who?
From the Lord. Y'all
so
listen.
he will send people your way. He will send things your way.
Yes.
He will send whatever it is that you need to help you, where you will know now to look to the hills that which coming from your help.
So train up your children in the way they should go. So when they start dating, they'll be all right. Now listen, thank you so much for
I know we gotta go.
Yeah.
I want to say this to Kenya. She said I was just asking, and I know you were just asking, but I thank you for asking because
somebody needed to hear that, girl.
Absolutely.
Thank you, girl.
So much. Okay. Sorry,
thank you, Kenya.
No, you good.
Y'all,
thank you. Thank y'all. Thank
this
y'all.
This is Shift Real Talk Podcast.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you so much. This is Shift Real Talk Podcast. If this is your first time, come back to see us next week where we have another dope topic for you. And listen, you have taken in some good information. You have eaten from the table. Now share this meal with someone else. Give someone else an opportunity to get the information you just received and continue to share it so that more people will be able to have generations and generations of healing that will last forever. Y'all listen, I'm your girl, Lady Free.
I'm your boy, Pastor Jay.
And Zania.
Yes, until next time, same bad channel, same bad place. Peace.
Thanks for watching.